In this video, we're going to be talking about 7 systems every church needs for explosive growth. Now, if you're anything like me, right, the idea of systems seems a little bit ambiguous, right? It's like, okay, I know that I need systems, but what exactly are systems? Like, how exactly does that work? A system is just a series of steps. And the best systems are usually the simplest systems. Keep your system simple. If you don't have healthy systems, then you'll end up solving the same problems over and over and over. My friend Michael Lukaszewski is like one of the most brilliant church systems guys I've ever met in my entire life, right? He's actually the inspiration for this video. He and I did an interview here a little while back on one of our YouTube lives where we kind of talked about systems and how his church grew really, really fast when he was a pastor. They grew from like 0 to 1,000 in like 2 years or something, right? And he learned all these like really, really cool things along the way, and then started helping other pastors do the same thing. And it's really, really interesting, right? A really, really humble guy, brilliant guy. But one of the things that he talked about is just this idea of simple systems that help facilitate growth. And he says, if you don't have healthy systems, then you'll end up solving the same problems over and over again, right? So whenever you have a problem, right, if it's a problem that's just going to happen one time, you don't need a system for it, right? But for example, like how do we follow up with a guest, right? If a guest comes in on Sunday, we got to follow up with them. We're going to have to solve that same problem over and over and over again until we have a system. So we need to create a system for that. So let's dive in and let's talk about the 7 systems that every church needs for explosive growth. All right, number 1, every church needs a visitor system. There's a lot of different ways that you can go about building a visitor system, right? But the bottom line is you need a way to bring in new visitors every single Sunday whenever you want to, right? So a great visitor system works kind of like a faucet, right? Where when you need more people, you can kind of turn up the faucet and have more visitors flowing in. And then if something's going on or you're running out of space or you just moved to 2 or 3 services, you're running out of chairs, great problem to have, by the way, right? Then you can just kind of turn down that faucet, right? And focus on the people that you have for a little while. And I think if you're a smaller church, there's probably 2 ways that you could go about building a visitor system. And then if you use both of them at the same time, it'll actually be twice as effective. The first one is an automatic invite system, right? And this is something we actually did a workshop on this. You guys can actually check it out on the channel if you want to go more in depth about this. We actually talked about how to build an automatic invite system using the Google grant, right? Which is $10,000 worth of free Google ads that Google gives to churches and nonprofits, right? So you can actually just go look up the Grow Your Church workshop if you want to go in depth on that and explore a little bit more, right? But that automatic invite system is awesome. And it's Google's money, so that's a great way to start bringing in some new visitors, get your church on page 1 of Google. The second way is the prayer ad system, right? And so this is something I've talked a lot about on the channel, because again, I'm not going to go into super detail here in this video, but it's basically setting up a series of Facebook and Instagram ads that run to people within driving distance of your church, just saying, hey, what's up, Tulsa? How can I pray for you? Really simple, right? Just going out to everybody who lives within driving distance of your church. And then you're going to have a system of automated responses that facilitate and collect those prayer requests. And then you're going to go in and send a custom audio or a custom video to every single prayer request that comes in and then invite them to church, right? So we've seen some incredible churches. I saw a church of 20 people use this, right? Like I actually helped them. I built out their prayer ad system for them. And this church of 20 ended up praying for 1,892 people, right? Almost 1,900 people they prayed for in 5 months. And they had 209 new families plan a visit in 5 months, right? That's a great visitor system, right? That's it's just a way of scaling and doing ministry, and it can really, really help you reach a lot of people, do ministry at scale, and get some new families in. All right, number 2 is a volunteer system. Okay, and there's actually 3 parts to the volunteer system. Again, this is something I learned from Michael, right? But the volunteer system, I would usually think like, okay, we need to recruit volunteers. It's like, yes, that's one part of it, right? You need an effective volunteer system is going to have 3 parts. You need to be able to recruit volunteers, train volunteers, and pastor volunteers. Okay, so 3 different aspects that you have to think about when you're putting together your volunteer system, right? Some churches might use the stage to actually like talk about volunteering, right? Or and bringing people into maybe it's a kids volunteer or the parking ministry or as an usher or on the worship team, right? And then some might do more of a shoulder tap, right? Where you're just going to go up to people and ask them to serve, right? Whatever it is that you decide, whatever way you decide to do it, right? It's not just the recruiting, but you also have to figure out, okay, how are we going to train these leaders and how are we going to pastor them? Number 3 is a preaching system. All right. So remember, we talked about how simple the systems should be. Your preaching system could be as simple as you block off time on your calendar every single week to work on your sermon and nothing interrupts it no matter what, right? So I found I always work best in blocks of time. I know when I was in youth ministry and I was putting together sermons every single week, I just had to carve out time on my calendar, right? No interruptions, turn my phone off, everything. And I just had to dive into the word, right? And do research and pulling out books and, and everything that I was going to use for my sermons. And I just had to have an uninterrupted block of time to work on my sermon. It's a really simple one-step system. Carve out time on the calendar, execute it, right? So you do have to actually do it, right? Two-step system, but very, very simple. All right, number 4, you need a giving system. And a great giving system is actually going to have 2 parts to it, right? You need a way to raise the money, and then you also need a way to manage the money. In my brain, when I first think about like, okay, we need a giving system, I'm just thinking like, okay, man, online giving, right? Like which platform are we going to use and how are we going to get people to give, right? But it's not just raising the money. It's not just getting people to give, but it's also what are you going to do, right? What's your system going to be for how you manage the money, right? How you budget and where you put the money and all that kind of stuff, right? So just something to think through as you're creating your giving system. How are you going to raise the money? How are you going to manage the money? Number 5, a connection system, right? I'd probably use the word assimilation. It's probably 50-50 out there, whether or not people call this connections versus assimilation. Bottom line is, once people come into your church, you need to have a system for how they get connected and assimilated into the life of your church. This can be done a number of ways. Welcome parties are really effective, in my opinion. I've just seen them work really, really well. And I like the name welcome party as opposed to a membership class. One of the guys on my team, Pastor Nathan Teagarden, executive pastor extraordinary, amazing with systems and really, really gifted with connections. And that's one of the things that he told me. He's like, hey, man, we go welcome party every single time. We teach other churches to do welcome party because, man, you got a membership class or a welcome party. Nobody wants to go to a class. Everyone wants to go to a party, right? And he told me that. I was like, oh my gosh, we've been doing it wrong, right? Like I love that, right? Of course, everybody wants to go to a party, right? So whether it's a welcome party or a party with the pastor or, pizza with the pastor, whatever it is, getting everyone together in one room. I like to do it like physically with the pastor there and then moving them to their next step, right? Maybe it's small groups, maybe it's joining a volunteer team, like a serve team, but whatever it is, right? You have to have a way to get people connected. And one of the things that Pastor Nathan talks about all the time is getting people to find their first friend, right? You have to somehow get them hooked up with another friend. One of the great ways to do this, right? This could be part of your volunteer system is if you're getting plugged into a volunteer group or a serve team, right? Then one of the ways that you kind of onboard and train those new volunteers is maybe putting them with someone who's been there before. This kind of happened to me by accident when I first got into youth ministry. I remember walking around, I'm feeling so awkward, right? Like I think I was 19, right? So I was like barely out of high school anyway. And I was like, what the heck, man? I'm barely older than these kids. I'm supposed to like lead these kids. I feel awkward. I'm trying to talk to people, but it's just, it was just weird. And I remember like one of the leaders just came up to me and goes, hey, what's up, man? Is this your first time? And I was like, yeah, man. Like, hey, like, man, my name's Chris. Like I came out here to just want to love on some kids, man. I have no idea what I'm doing. He's like, bro, hang with me. Right. And so just took me under his wing, started introducing me to kids like, hey, what's up, guys? Man, this is Chris. Right. And I'm meeting everybody and stuff. Right. The nickname Abbott didn't come till later. I'm getting a chance to like meet all these people. And it's like, oh man. Right. And then every week I come back and he's introducing me to more kids. He's training me up. Hey, here's what we do for small groups. Man, here's what we do when kids do this. Here's what we do for, and I was like, oh man. And he basically trained me up, right? But that wasn't something that wasn't a system the church had. That just happened because that dude was awesome, right? He's still one of my boys to this day. That was over 20 years ago. And he's still one of my boys. He's still in ministry and he's crushing the game. Shout out to you, Jason Cho, my man. Anyway, really, really cool deal. If you have a system like this, right, and you have a connection system and you're bringing people in, now you can actually, if you're bringing them onto like a volunteer team, you're maybe connecting with somebody, they can take them under their wing, right? Maybe for the first 30, 60, 90 days, whatever it is, right? Now they're making a friend, you're getting them connected, and there's a much better chance they'll get assimilated into the life of your church. Number 6, you need a leadership system, right? Michael talks about this a lot, and I love his idea, right? He just says the biggest thing you need for a leadership system is you actually just have to get a calendar and you have to put things on the calendar. You have to make time to train up leaders. And, I think you could probably do this in person. You could do this digitally. You could probably do some emails or some videos. There's probably a lot of different ways you can put together a leadership system, but that's the most important part. You have to first schedule it, and then you can figure out the best way that you're going to execute that leadership system. And then And finally, number 7, the follow-up system. This is one that is near and dear to me personally. I've talked about it a lot on this channel. I love follow-up systems, right? Because I hate the idea of dead ends, right? I hate the idea of somebody comes to church and that's it. Like there's nothing next, right? Like if somebody comes into church for the very first time on Sunday, they should get followed up with, and I believe for at least a minimum of 6 weeks. I really like doing it for at least 12 weeks, right? If it was me, if I was taking over a church right now, one of the first things I'd do is I'd build out a 12-week follow-up system for our new visitors, right? So that every single new visitor would come in on Sunday. On Monday morning, I would send them a personal selfie video on Monday morning. I've talked about that here on the channel here and some of the other videos as well, right? We're just say, hey, what's up, John, Heather? Thanks so much for coming to church. My name is Pastor Chris. Man, I just want to introduce myself to you. Thank you for coming to church yesterday. And man, I just want to invite you back next Sunday. We're doing it again, same time, same place, 10 o'clock. Can you make it, right? I'd send that out, and then I would plug them into an automated 12-week follow-up system. Personally, I'm a huge fan of the software Text in Church, and they actually have a 6-week follow-up system right out of the box. You can plug and play immediately. And then what I've actually done is I actually went in and I just built it out from 6 weeks all the way out to 12 weeks. In my opinion, it should be a strategic mix of texting, emails, and personal phone calls. And one more side to the follow-up system that Michael talks about that I actually love. He also talks about how you need a follow-up system for first-time givers, right? And I think this is a huge opportunity. I think this is absolutely brilliant, right? A lot of us, we're going to think about a follow-up system for our visitors, but what about a follow-up system for a first-time giver, right? Somebody who gives for the very first time deserves to be celebrated, right? And thanked, and they deserve to know, right, the mission behind where that money is going to. Man, if you have like a food pantry and you feed families every single week, man, they should know about that, right? Or the different outreaches that are going on, right? The good that's happening in the world. If you're making heaven crowded and reaching people with that money, they should know about that. So you should have a follow-up system for your volunteers, but you should also have a follow-up system for your first-time givers. Now, I actually just put together a brand new PDF. It's called 101 Church Growth Ideas You've Probably Never Heard of. If you want that, you can download it. It's my gift to you. It's absolutely free. Just go to churchfuel.com/101 ideas. There's 101 ideas, so hopefully there's a couple on there that can help you guys. Man, thanks so much for watching the channel. Make sure to like and subscribe, right? Hit that bell so you get notified every single time we drop a new video. Man, and I'm believing that God will do exceedingly abundantly above and beyond all that you can ask or imagine. Man, I love you guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. Let's make heaven crowded. We'll see you soon.